Something calling me. All right, we got about 30 seconds and we'll get started. Good afternoon, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. We've got lots and lots of things to cover today. Again, if you have not already, please put your name and organization in the chat box. And we'll start really quickly. It looks like we have a few new faces here, a couple guests joining us. So we'll go ahead and start with the folks on Zoom, and then we'll go around to the folks here in the room. So Miss Amber, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, please?
Hey, I'm Amber, Safe House Ministries.
Thank you, Amber. Welcome.
Thank you.
Miss Kimberly Allen.
Good afternoon. I'm Kimberly Allen with the Salvation Army's Rapid Rehousing Program.
All right, Miss Liz.
Here I am, sorry. Liz with Southwest Georgia Housing Opportunities.
Lydia with Southwest Georgia Housing Opportunities. Hi, Pat.
Hey. All right, Major Lockett.
Curtis Lockett, Muskogee County Sheriff's Office. Hello.
Hey. Haley and Catherine.
Hi, yeah, we're with the university or Mercer, the School of Medicine, and we're just here to kind of like see what's going on and maybe think about volunteering with you guys.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. That means we all have to behave, guys. All right, Miss Devlon. She may have had to step away.
Yeah, she's in the other office trying to get our other computer hooked up, so she's here.
Okay, that's Devlon with Southwest Housing Opportunities as well.
Yeah.
All right, Miss Keisha.
Hello, it's Keisha Cawthorn, Department of Behavioral Health. Glad to be here.
Thank you, Miss Keisha. Drew.
Drew Johnson, Safe House Ministries.
Thanks, Drew. Miss Carol.
Carol Hall with the Piedmont Mobile Unit.
Thank you, Miss Carol. Miss Tiffany.
Hey, Tiffany Cole from the House of Time.
Okay, and our friends up there at Harris County, Miss Terry.
Hey, everybody. Hope you're all doing okay today. I'm Terry Evans, the Harris County Family Connection. Glad to be here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll go ahead. Right here, we've got
Tarika Barnes, Housing Case Manager.
Amy Redden, Court of the Entry, Home for Good.
Jamie Lee from Safe House Ministries.
of course, and I'm Pat with Home for Good as well. So let me go ahead if I can. Let me share the screen. Got lots of information, lots of good, interesting information. Of course, now the one that I wanted to share is not showing up. So let's see what happens here. If I can get this PowerPoint to show up here. All right, hopefully. Can you guys see my PowerPoint? I hope so.
Yes, we can.
Perfect. All right, let me try and take it out of here. Come on. Here we go. No. Here. There we go. All right, again, today we'll go over the referrals from March for coordinated entry. We'll talk about the upcoming application season for emergency solutions grants and explain a little bit about what those are and some milestones we have to meet during that time. Some Q&As that are going to happen as well. We'll talk about the recent announcement for the COC funding from last year's application, talk about some upcoming events. All right, for last month, we had 218 coordinated entry events, and the majority of those, again, were sent to Rapid Rehousing for referral. And a good chunk of those, you can see 82. So not quite 50%, but pretty close to, had to be re-referred to coordinated entry for second or third follow-up. If you guys recall that when someone calls, we call or may try to make contact at least 3 times within a 7-day period to see if we can make those connections to see about sending referrals over as appropriate to their needs. So it looks like we're having almost 50% who were having to call back a second and or a third time. That's not unusual. That's been pretty much the trend for the last couple of years. Of those who were referred, 5 of them were emergency housing vouchers. That's ongoing rental assistance that does not require ongoing case management. Rapid rehousing, the breakdown as to who got those, looks like my margins were off on one of those. I apologize for that. But those referrals were sent over and.
Hey, Pat.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. I don't know if it's just me or everyone else, but I don't see anything. It's just a blank screen.
I was gonna say the same thing. It's just white.
Yeah, it's just white.
I sent you a message. It's private.
I'm sorry, I didn't see that. So let's see here. Okay, we'll stop sharing and try again. What does this look like?
There's a picture of 2 girls, United Way logo. There we go. Yep.
Okay, for some reason, then when we click slideshow, then it's not showing up. Okay, got it. All right, so we're, let me back up for you just a little bit there. This was the total coordinated entry of 218. As I was saying, 82 of those, not quite 50%, had to be referred back to coordinated entry. That's the way we can keep track of making sure that we make the second and third contact as required, and 2, to see who the percentage numbers that are able to contact on first call. Just like a referral that goes to a housing prevention or rapid rehousing, the referral goes back to coordinated entry so that it's constantly in the queue and less likely to be dropped or forgotten. Again, emergency housing voucher, 5 of those over the past month or in last month. And again, those are housing rental assistance without case management requirements. Rapid rehousing, and this is the one I was commenting that apparently I messed up the margins here. Rapid rehousing with the breakdown as to which programs they were sent to. Emergency shelter, there were 12 referrals that were sent over to the Salvation Army's shelter program for the last month. 18 sent over to prevention at Home for Good. Any questions about that before we go into the emergency solutions grant for this year? Cool. All right, so hopefully everyone here has seen the plethora of emails, updates, and those kinds of things. Hold on, let me close this door, guys. that have come out from Department of Community Affairs over the last couple months about the upcoming Emergency Solutions Grant process. Hopefully, all of you who were going to apply have attended one of the workshops that were given by DCA in preparation for that application process. The application process will begin, as you see here, on April the 10th, which is a week from yesterday, and run through May the 5th. There are quite a few things that are moving parts through that process. Number one being that it's always helpful to read the guidebooks and the documents that go along with the application prior to starting anything. But probably the best place to start is with the application workshop. These PowerPoints, and we again will send them out to everybody, post them to our website, and put them in our newsletter on this Friday. These are live links. Just while we're here, we'll take you to the application PowerPoint on everything that you need to know for completing the application process. Let me just get out of this real quick and go back to my PowerPoint. The same thing goes for the forms that are here, but said the PowerPoint really highly suggested you look through it, go over it, and then go into the next part being the application documents and the guidebooks. All of these are, for instance, this application manual. We always make it a habit to automatically download that program guideline and have it either printed out next to us when we're doing the application or on the screen, so that you're looking at the guidelines for each of the programs and all of the information that you'll need, the eligible applicants, the activities, the funding limits, the match requirements, all of that, the required documents that you need. All of those things are in this guidebook. Again, it's not a big read. It's about 30 pages long. Really a good idea to read over them before doing any work on the application. HMIS, and just wanted to point out, this was reiterated time and time again last week in the training that we went to. HMIS is not a separate application for funding this year. If you secure if you secure rapid rehousing or homelessness prevention, you are eligible for HMIS funding, and it is built into that application. So it is not a separate funding application. But the other ones, shelter supportive services, you can only get if you have prevention, rapid rehousing, or street outreach. You can only apply for supportive services if you have another program that provides housing and or shelter to folks. You can only apply for that there. Hotel motel vouchers are only for areas where there is not sufficient stock of emergency shelter to meet the needs of the client. Street outreach, priority is given to those areas that do not have a PATH program. But again, just trying to encourage everyone to read through the manuals, and you have said we'll send this out tomorrow morning, probably. It'll be in our newsletter on Friday, actually on Thursday, because Friday is a holiday. So we'll actually go in on Thursday. Not a bad idea to go ahead and read it before you start filling out the application.
Pat, I have a question
Yes.
to a place. This is naive probably, but just learning about the housing and all of this. So are recipients from last year, are they listed somewhere where you can see who has the grants? I know
Recipients, they are listed on the DCA website. They should be the recipients from last year. In fact, let's go there together real quick. I'm gonna stop sharing real quick while I just go to the DCA website.
just give us a better idea of the landscape of who participates in that and if there's other agencies that we might want to tap for this.
Okay, hold on one second. All right, hold on one second. I've got the DCA website up here. And I know I have an email that I received, but I was gonna try and find somewhere publicly to be able to answer your question. I know it should be here. So let's go together. Let me just move this out of the way. It should be here under emergency solutions grants. Awards. 2020, 19. Okay, so this is 2020 ESG HOPWA. And this again, federal fiscal year 2020. They do not have last year's on here. I can tell you who received it in our area. If you'll hang on one second, I'll show you the notification from last year. Again, let me stop sharing real quick because I have to pull up the email. While I'm pulling it up, I know there's a HOPWA grant that is administered here locally through Southwest Housing Opportunities. Lindsay over Hope Harbor has emergency shelter. Salvation, I'm sorry, not Salvation Army, Chattahoochee Valley Jail Ministries also receives shelter and rapid rehousing, correct? Anybody can think about anybody I mentioned while I try and find that email. In fact, Keisha, if it's okay with you, what I'll do is I'll find it and I'll send it out, forward it to everyone.
Okay, thanks.
At the end of here of who all has received funding in the past. Anybody else who receives funding that I've forgotten, guys, that you can think of from ESG? We're not talking CARES, but just straight ESG. I take that as a no. Okay. So you found it?
Yeah, I think I found it on the website. I think that's the link to the 2022 awards for you.
Perfect. Here we go. And of course, this is what we'll do is it's in the chat there and we'll send out this link too. And it's by, unfortunately, it's not by location, it's alphabetically. So if you, let me see here. Okay.
That's okay. I pulled it up. I can see it too. I think everybody can.
Okay, cool. Oh, I'm sorry.
Appreciate
I thought I was sharing. I was just scrolling through here like I knew what I was doing there, Keisha.
That's okay. I appreciate the divergence. Thank you, Cheryl.
Cool, yeah. All right, cool. Thank you. So let me go back to the PowerPoint here. All right, so again, the documents, and speaking of documents, there are two very important documents that go along with the application process. One of them being the certificate of consistency. And again, I'm going to hit control here. It's going to take you to the fillable form. Okay, and again, this is for Georgia residents only. Georgia residents only. Columbus, Muskogee is all we're representing here. And this form must be filled out, submitted to the Continuum of Care lead, which is Home for Good, to be submitted to the city for review and approval. I had emailed out to all COC members, all former ESG recipients, and posted in our newsletter last 2 weeks ago, the process in which to follow, and I'll review that again in just a few minutes. But their certificate of consistency is saying that your organization and the project that you're proposing is in line with the city or the localities, usually the county's consolidated plan of the county of which you're applying. You will have to, you meaning the organization and or project, will need to fill in your legal name as it appears on the Secretary of State documentation. the project name, which may or may not be the same. For instance, it would be United Way of the Chattahoochee Valley, and then it would be Home for Good Rapid Rehousing would be the project name. The type of project, again, if it's an allowable project, it cannot apply for instance, you cannot apply separately for HMIS. You wouldn't do that. Now, if you have multiple projects, or multiple project types under your name, if you had Safe House Ministries and you had Rapid Rehousing, you had Emergency Shelter and you had Street Outreach, you could put them all on one. Or you can do them separately. It is completely up to you if the project names are the same. Now, if you had Safe House 1 Rapid Rehousing and you had Safe House 2 Rapid Rehousing, you would need to put them separately. So the project name must be the same. Project types you can lump together under one project name. The location of the project, of course, is your physical location, not a PO box. The only exception is if you are a domestic violence provider, because those are secured locations. You must select, at the top, you need to select Columbus Muskogee. And here you need to select whether your emergency solutions grant, which all of us, except for those who are servicing those with HIV or AIDS, those would check HOPWA. Your certifying jurisdiction would be Columbus Consolidated Government. The type name would be Isaiah Hughley, City Manager. The city manager will not sign it unless his name and title is typed on this line right here. Is everybody looking at my screen? No? Yes?
Can't see us.
Sharing it.
We see you.
You're not sharing your screen.
So let me go back to that form. In the future, somebody would just say something. Again, this is the form, the certificate of consistency. Again, having to check Columbus Muskogee. Your applicant is your legal name.
You're not on the phone.
No, Ms. Pat, we don't see you.
We see
You
your.
have to bring it to the
PowerPoint.
same, you have to bring it to the same screen that you're showing your PowerPoint.
Okay, let's see what we're doing here. All right, we're gonna unplug this other one here. Hold on. Let's try this. See, this is what happened when Charles goes out of town.
Right.
How's this?
Yes,
Anyone?
ma'am.
Good, we see.
Yes.
Cool. All right, again, must click Columbus Muskogee. Your name as it stands on your Secretary of State registration. Because we all know we have nicknames and everything else. It cannot be a nickname. The project name, again, does not necessarily need to be the name of your organization. It may or may not be the same, but your project name. Project type, again, one of those that has to be one that is allowable in this application season. Location, again, being the physical address, not a PO box unless you are domestic violence provider. Again, emergency solutions for all of us who accept those who are servicing those with HIV or AIDS through the HOPWA.
I have a question, Pat.
Yes.
So for like one of our programs, permanent supportive housing, we have multiple locations. So for this particular thing, would we just put like our service office address? Or do we have to list every individual address?
But that is under the COC funding and not emergency solutions grant, so that wouldn't apply.
Okay.
Yep. But for physical location, that's why in with the COC, it allows for scattered site to be checked. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. Thank you. So the name of the certifying jurisdiction, again, that's Columbus Consolidated Government. And on this line, Isaiah Hughley, city manager, again, the city manager will not sign it unless that is, his name and title is typed in there. Those along with, and I'm gonna try and do it without stopping to share so we don't get anything messed up here. Move these over. Those along with this other form right here. Can you guys see this that says local government approval?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool. Thank
We
you.
can see it.
Okay, this form is to be used for those who have emergency shelters only. This is saying that you have received approval to operate as an emergency shelter in this jurisdiction. The HMIS project name is what you're listed in if you received funds from DCA for that project last year. If you did not, you will leave that blank. So again, this is for emergency shelter only. If you have multiple emergency shelters, you can do one form. Emergency shelter 1, 2, and 3. And the name and the amount that is requested on your application.
The COC needs a copy of that one as well as the other.
Yes.
Okay.
These two must, again, because this right here, the name of approving local government, again, is Columbus Consolidated Government. You will again put Isaiah Hughley, city manager here, for his signature and date. This is government approval or local government approval of your emergency shelter to operate in that jurisdiction. And I said all that and spent all the time going on that to say that we have a short window of time to get them to this community reinvestment department, which they have to go to first. They do some research, then they transfer them over to the city manager's office. That being said, we already have a process and a timeline in which to do that. The applications are going to open April the 17th. I'm sorry, April 10th, which is next Monday. The week after, we need to have those forms by noon. We need to have those forms in hand. And I say in hand, please send them electronically. You can drop them off at the office, but it's an extra trip. Emailing them is perfectly fine. Everybody will get a receipt sent back on what was received by each of you. That afternoon, we will print them out, take them over to community reinvestment. They will be signed for at community reinvestment. Everybody who has submitted one will get a copy of that signature sheet that everybody's has been received by community reinvestment for their review and transfer to the city manager. This process has already been discussed with community reinvestment and the city manager's office. They've agreed that by May the 1st, we will have all of the forms back in hand. Hopefully before then, but it's our intent to get to each of the projects the forms back by May the 1st, which is 4 days before the deadline of May 5th. That way, you're not waiting around till the last minute, to when the server's going to crash, to when your printer doesn't work, to where your internet goes, all of those things that could happen at the end of a grant season, probably will to somebody. So trying to get it to you those 4 days in advance. Once the packet goes over at 4 o'clock on the 17th, the city managers to community reinvestment, they will not add anyone to that packet. So those have to be in. So if you want to send them today, please do. Again, the stuff is already out there. The applications aren't there, but if I can give everybody a hint real quick, like, because remember, if you're looking at those applications or those forms, especially for shelter, is asking you for the amount requested. You can go ahead now and work on your budgets. What's it gonna take to run it? That way, you're a step ahead, you've gotten started, you can start getting some of your other forms done. Whether it be your language accessibility, talk about your board member, your staffing, all of these are forms that you can start doing before the application actually drops in the portal. And the portal and how to access that is all explained in the PowerPoint, but also right here on that link shared. And this talks about eCivus, which is the portal that DCA uses to not only apply for grants, award them, execute them, and for you to submit your reimbursements. So great information to be able to go over now. Make sure you have your access, make sure you have your account set up and everything else. That way, when the applications do hit, boom, you're ready to go. Before we go any further on that, any questions on that? Okay, again, certificates of consistency, local approval have got to be in by noon on the 17th. For us to be able to make sure that we've got everything gathered together, we send everybody a receipt that we received it, then we can forward you, and as soon as it's delivered, the receipt that it was delivered and that you were in that packet. Again, to return to you on May the 1st, we will send them as soon as they get back. Again, hopefully before May 1st, but no later than May 1st, we will send you electronically the forms to you. And if you want to come and pick up the actual originals, you're more than welcome to do so. But we'll have you the electronic copies that afternoon. Any of the DCA questions related to the application, once the application drops? You can't see this. Is anybody seeing anything? Okay, hold on, let's try this again, because apparently it's not showing up. How about that? Okay. All right, so the application, again, will start on the 10th, which is next Monday. Once the application drops, DCA staff is not allowed to discuss anything about the application. There will be 4 Q&A sessions regarding the application. Each one of them will be different because the attendees will probably be different, asking different questions or whatever. However you want to do it, it may behoove you to have somebody from your organization to be at each one, if nothing else, but just to have it in the background, just in case a question comes up that didn't come up to one of the others. And again, these links will work once the program starts. We tested all of them yesterday. And we will forward out to everyone again the DCA Q&A link or the email that Ladrina sent out about the DCA Q&As. Again, after the application drops, they will not be able to answer any questions about the application. Any questions before we move out to talking about continuum of care funding? Okay, everybody's got it, cool. All right. Okay, moving right along. Last week, our folks over at HUD announced the awards for the applications for the 22 Continuum of Care NOFO, the Notice of Funding Opportunity. Again, it says here 2.76 billion were awarded across the country. Muskogee, Russell County, Continuum. We were awarded our full renewal award plus our a bonus. So our funding for this upcoming grant year, last application year, this upcoming grant year was a total of $1.8 million. And you can see how it's broken down there amongst planning, HMIS, permanent supportive housing, those ones you were talking about here, there, Tiffany, rapid rehousing, permanent, again, another permanent supportive housing, transitional to rapid rehousing. And the agencies who receive those. That's remarkable. That means that as a community, we scored at or above the median score for the entire country. So something was going in the right direction, and we just need to keep moving along. Speaking of which, the members of the application committee and the funded agencies from last year have already begun reviewing the scorecards, getting some professional input from outside of the continuum on how we can make it stronger, better, looking at data points and those kinds of things. So looking at making sure that our application is not only as strong, but stronger than it was last year, but also how do we hold ourselves to a higher standard and make sure that we're moving in the direction of having better outcomes for our clients and designing programs and filling the gaps in programs that meet the needs of the clients instead of having the clients to comply with the requirements of a program. Any questions about that before we go on, just for some updates? Okay. There's a couple of interesting things coming up in the near future. We have our vote writers that are come here twice a month, first Thursday of each month at 10 and the third Thursday of each month at 5. I don't know if anybody here, I don't know if Kathy's here from Safe House, because I know she was working with Goodwill for Construction Ready. That sign up, I think, ends in a couple of weeks to enter the May 8th class for Construction Ready at Goodwill. Also, I put an extra link, to the Q&As for DCA, just to remind everybody. Also, Public Health on Wheels, about some locations that Public Health will be at over the next couple of days, and some of the services that they have to provide. Also tonight, the annual action plan meeting for the Columbus Consolidated Government is tonight at 6:30 at the Annex Building on 10th Avenue. For those of you who are unfamiliar, that's right across from the Public Safety Building at the corner of 5th and 10th. And the Fair Housing Seminar, I think we put this out a couple weeks ago, but the location was changed. It is now going to be at City Council chambers, and we'll forward this flyer out as well, along with this slide. Other updates, anything folks want to share, announcements, new hours, changing hours, new staff, anything else going on?
This is Liz at Southwest Georgia Housing Opportunities. I want to just introduce our new staff member, Keisha. Keisha's here, and we are so glad to have her. So you'll get to meet her at some point.
Keisha, what was Keisha's last name?
Freeman.
Welcome, Keisha.
I'd like to introduce Amber Hensley. She's a new case manager for rapid rehousing for our housing department at Safe House Ministries. So welcome, Amber. Welcome.
Hey, Amber.
Hey, guys.
Anything else? Anybody else got going on?
Hey, Pat.
Go ahead, Terry.
We have a health fair coming up on April 15th, Saturday, April 15th, from 10 to 2 with Valley Healthcare in Waverly Hall.
Do you have a flyer or anything you can send us?
Let me see if I can find one. If I can't, I'll find one and send that to you.
Okay, that'd be great. That'd be great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I do want to say, hey, Keisha, thank you so much for allowing us to host the Region 6 DBHDD meeting a couple weeks ago, I think it was now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever seen that many people in one room.
It was very exciting.
It was
And-
very,
Yep. And we've gotten a lot of side meetings already in the works from that big meeting. And I was just looking at some of the agencies on your meeting today, and I've already written their names and agencies down, and I want to include them. I don't think we have representation from Open Door, which we've had in the past, but we've lost that, and also House of Time. So I'd like to invite them to the next one as well.
great, great. And there was a question that came up before, if anybody has any announcements, go ahead, but there was a question that came up about how to make some connections, and I wanted to make sure we were all on the same page on it. Does everyone know how to contact the McKinney-Vento department in case you have a client or a family in need of services for students whose families are homeless? So I don't know that what we can do, just to be sure, the McKinney-Vento department at the Muskogee County School District, Ms. Pearl, Ms. Brown, Dr. Nelson, and all the other folks who work in that office work diligently every day to make sure that the needs of the students and families who are homeless are met. Very easy to reach them, and it literally the information was asked for as we were coming into this. So I told folks I would make sure that we all knew how to contact them. So we'll make that part of the chat in the that we distribute, and we'll make sure we make those connections and send it out to everybody, so that when we have needs in Muskogee County, we know how to connect them, and in Phoenix City and Russell County, having those connections too. So we'll get that out to everybody to make sure everyone knows how to connect those services with those clients and families in need. All right, any other updates? Nothing at all. All right, we'll give it about 45 seconds. If you have not done so, please go ahead and put your name and organization in a chat, and we'll just wait a few minutes for our folks to do that before we end up closing it out. And we'll see you all again next month, same time. Thank you there, Miss Terry, for that flyer.
You're welcome. I'm still trying to
Thank
know.
you. Thank you, Ms. Pat.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pat.
All right.
All right, guys.
Thanks,
See you
Pat. Take
later.
care.
We'll
Alrighty.
send everything on out.
All
Bye.
right, Pat, thanks. Bye.
Go have a good one.
You too.
Bye, guys.
I'm gonna email the flyer to you because it's still loading. The link is there. It's not-
All right, go ahead, and Terry, I've sent, I think I included you on the email. I sent an email to Libby asking her, to let's talk.
Okay, good.
Because apparently, the lady at Focus.
Kathy Carla.
Is really stressing out and scared about what's gonna happen
Okay.
unless someone takes the program.
She gets that way, so we just have to hold her hand.
That's fine, absolutely.
Do it. She gets that way.
Yep, perfect. So let me, I'm gonna pull up the contact information for the school districts before I close the chat. So I will chat with you later, my friend.
All right, talk to you later. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.